Hello, everybody. Joe Bagdones here. Welcome back for another episode of Umineko. Last time, they got, all. I was about to say all the parents, but not all of them. Rose is still around, but most of them got. So not only did we learn that Beatrice has like a dom foot fetish thing that she's got going on. Turns out she's also into force feeding and tentatively inflation, maybe? Beatrice is up to some whack shit. And because it was so disturbing to learn all this, I didn't record yesterday. Mainly because I didn't have the energy and I was playing Fallout. And I decided, I'm just going to play Fallout all day. It happens. Happens to the best of us. I'm playing the Tale of Two Wastelands mods for New Vegas and Fallout 3. And if you don't know what that is, basically what it is, it combines the two games. So you boot up New Vegas, but you can select to play Fallout 3. And then when you're done with Fallout 3, you transfer your character over to New Vegas, already like leveled up and with all this stuff, yada, yada, yada. But man, replaying Fallout 3, New Vegas is just so much fucking better, man. Like, it's unreal. Part of that for me is this is now Fallout talk. Welcome to my Fallout channel. Is Fallout 3's world is just so dead. Now, I get that's the point, and like one thing that possibly could lead to that is, I guess, in development, it was originally supposed to take place like right after, like within like 50 years, whatever, of the war, the Great War that ended the world, which would make sense why everything's so fucked and people are just barely scraping by in like literal bomb craters. But it's been like over 200 years, and everyone's still just vibing, basically. And they did that so that way they could have like the Enclave and the Brotherhood, all the Fallout things. But, dude, like, the Mojave Wasteland, infinitely more like interesting, has stuff going on. It's got a little bit of hustle and bustle. There's big factions moving around. Really, when you're in Fallout 3, the only like city you're ever going to be going to is Megaton, because all the other little shit shacks around the wasteland, you go there for a quest, and that's that, and then you never go back because there's no point. And I'm a crazy person who likes Morrowind, which means I never fast travel. I literally just fucking hoof it. Like, all right, time to walk 10 minutes to get to this quest objective. So I get to like be in the world a little more, and it's just like, all right, rocks, more rocks. At least New Vegas is pretty to look at once you take off the orange filter. But anyway, enough about me talking about how much better New Vegas is than Fallout 3. There are plenty of other people who are better versed in that topic and more eloquent than I am. And you can go watch their 7-hour-long video essays on that topic. But we're not here for that. We're here for Umineko. Let's continue reading.
どこに行っちまったんだろうな。
To hell.
使用人室も厨房も空っぽだぜ。一体どうしちまったってんだ。
She's fine, surprisingly. Oh yeah, she stole it. Oh yeah, and everyone was so kind to tell me, like, when I brought it up like a couple episodes ago, like, yes, Beatrice's name is, if we're going like actually going by like the proper pronunciation, it would be like Beatrice if we're like going full Italian. But I will not go full Italian because I think it's funny to hate on Italians and the French and the Germans. Basically what I'm saying is it's okay to be racist if it's against Europeans. I say that jokingly, of course. Like, actual, like, malicious racism is bad. I feel like that shouldn't have to be stated, but I'm going down this path, so I must explain my point of view, and that is, if it's just to poke some fun at the Europeans, then hell yeah, fuck them. Fuck those spaghetti munchers. I'm not saying Beatrice.
弱ったね。バトラ君、本当にローザおばさんだったのかい？
Yep.
まあ、俺も寝ぼけてたから自信はねえんだが、明け方にローザおばさんが入ってきて、マリアの手提げカバンを漁ってるような気がしたんだよ。俺はてっきり、マリアの手提げに、歯磨きのチューブでも入ってるんじゃゃないかなんて思っ
God,
て
but what if it like
寝ぼけ
opened
て
and
て。
got everywhere? Can you imagine just like your bag full of
なんで歯磨き
toothpaste?
のチューブがマリアの手提げに入ってるんだよ。
Look, she has a lot of weird shit
寝
in her
ぼけて
bag.
夢でも見たに決まってんぜ。
Battler vaguely remembered Rosa entering the cousin's room. And Maria, who had woken up first, had started rummaging around, saying that someone had opened the envelope that she had been keeping safe. And so they had started wondering whether Rosa might have come and opened it.
黄金の魔女様の封筒か。中に何が入ってたんだろう。
It was a key.
わからないね。でも、あの封筒は、おじい様が新書に使う、後宮家の家紋の入ったものだった。親族会議と無関係なものが入っていたとは考えがたいね。
She hadn't let anybody touch it, but yesterday, Maria had bragged a lot about the envelope to Battler and the rest. So they had remembered it well. Man, Maria's just having a rough time, huh? Kid just can't catch a break.
ジョージの兄貴の言う通りなら、相当重要なものらしいが、しかし、そんな大事なもの
It's a
は、
clue.
どうして魔女様はマリアに渡したんだろうな。さっぱりだぜ。
The refreshing morning atmosphere had been completely wiped out by the occasional sounds of thunder. Really, I think like thunder is really nice. I like the rumble. It was only natural. Since the time they had woken up, they hadn't met anyone other than themselves. Like the mansion had become an empty husk, leaving only them behind.
おーい
Well, you're not wrong. Everyone's over at the chapel.
誰かいないか
No, except Kinzo.
返事してくれよ
And probably Beatrice. Oh god, that's even worse. You're fucking trapped in here alone with Beatrice. Ugh. After Jessica called into the hallway, an answer finally came back. It was from the entrance hall.
聞こえますとも。何かありましたか？
南條先生だ。よかった。
Oh yeah, Nanjo's here too. He didn't go with the original group.
この島から僕たち以外が消えてしまったわけではないようだよ。
南條先生、おはようございます。すみませんが、うちの親たちとか
Is this
どこに行ったか知り
after
ませ
they
んか
went to get him and bring him to the chapel, or is this before he even goes
は
over?
て、私も今起きてこちらに来たばかりですからな。わかりかねますが、さて。
It was only natural. Nanjo was a guest like the rest of them. He had just now come to pass time in the parlor until breakfast.
南條先生、ママが通った。ママがマリアのお手紙通ったよ。返して返して。
First thing in the morning. Maria buried her face in Nanjo's well-built stomach, sobbing and crying, getting snot all over his nice vest and like lab coat. Nanjo could do nothing but be bewildered at what was going on so early in the morning.
誰かかけてくるぞ。ジェシカ、誰か来るぞ。
And down the hall, they could sense people running hurriedly. When they looked, they saw it was Goda and Cannon. Running inside the mansion should have been immodest for a servant. And yet, Battler and the rest didn't even think to question that now. Maria's sobbing had become so unmanageable, they wanted to ask someone, anyone, where Rosa was. But the two servants ignored Jessica as she waved her hand. Goda flew into the servant room, and Cannon, noticing that Nanjo was there, bowed and approached him at a quick pace and whispered something in his ear.
何ですって？ローザさんが。
はい、ご案内いたしますので、どうかご同行お願いいたします。
わかりました。
Yeah, you four should, sit tight.
こちらへ。
Without saying anything more than that, Cannon finally noticed Jessica and bowed to her. But he wasn't calm. He dashed back down the corridor by which he had come, followed by Nanjo. But looking at how hurried they were, Battler and the rest realized that something bad really had happened. They saw Goda through the door to the servant room, which had been flung open. He had the telephone receiver in hand and was violently pressing the hook. From that, I realized he was trying to call a hospital, or the police, or in any event trying to call somebody because a serious emergency had occurred.
行ってみようぜ。
You can get the envelope back, but, no. It's not a golden ticket. I didn't know what, but something was happening. Fallon and the rest chased after Cannon and Anjo. And then we realized Cannon had called Dr. Nanjo, but he hadn't called us. So we never should have followed. I wonder if Alice didn't regret her excess curiosity when she chased after the rabbit holding a clock. I mean, I guess you can call a pocket watch a clock. It just, in my mind, when I hear that, I just imagine a rabbit, like, dragging along a grandfather clock, or at least, like, one of those smaller ones you put on your desk. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
なんだよ、こりゃ。
Some Legend of Zelda Zelly. Oh god, how do I... What button do I hit to get rid of the text box? No, not control, that's fast forward. Definitely don't hit control. Whatever. I was gonna see if I can see more of that. That's Zelly, but doesn't matter.
なんだよ、こりゃ。
Also, sorry, Battler, I skipped over like half your dialogue.
わざわざ殺した後に椅子に座らせて腹裂いて歌詞をわざわざ中に詰め込んだってのかよ。
Yeah, that's pretty macabre.
なんだって、なんだって、そんな悪趣味なことをしやがるんだよ。チキショウ、やってくれやがるぜ。最高だよ、最高
Real
だよ。
work of art.
皆さんは外へ出られた方がいい。
Yeah.
こんな姿を皆さんに見せたいなどと彼らが思うわけがありません。
Nanjo told the children to go outside, but no one lent him an ear.
ローザさん、皆さんに言ってください。こんなもの見続けてはどこになる。
Rosa regretted her own carelessness. She should have been able to anticipate that the children would eventually come here. She should have quickly locked it instead of standing around. So now the children had come. They had seen it. Surely, in this very moment, they were having a sight burned into their eyes, which is far more grotesque than the gross-out food Rosa had seen in her youth. While she hugged Maria, who seemed to have forgotten her emotions as she stared dumbfounded at the horrible scene, Rosa shed copious tears for them and their parents. Before groaning and crying voices, their sadness continued to echo in a place which should have known God's love.
クソ野郎がまたかよ、またこんな殺人を。しかも今度もやたらと凝った最高にふざけた殺し方をしやがって。
Yeah, I'm gonna assume this little, silhouetting with the fancy designs. Okay, this is, the battler battling Beatrice talking. Yeah, okay.
わらわはそんな嘆きより感謝の言葉が聞きたかったぞ。
感謝と言ったがこのクソババア。てめえ、耳がいかれてやがるってんなら俺が両の耳を引き裂いてよく聞こえるようにしてやるぜ。
That actually would probably make her be able to hear less well.
なんで俺がこの最高にいかれた殺し方にありがとうございますベアトリーチェ様なんて言わなければならねえんだ。
前回のゲー
Hell
ム
yeah,
で
hell yeah. Beat her up.
お前は自分の親の死に顔が見られないと嘆いたな。だから残したぞ。
Now that I think about it, there actually is a Umineko fighting game, isn't there? What is it, like called Golden Fantasia or something?
しっかり残した。よく拝んでおけ。間違いなく父親たちが殺されたことを。
Those are unequivocally, yes, their bodies.
そうかよ。そいつはサービス満点だぜ。気に入った。俺はてめえの息の根を止めたら顔面耕してやろうと誓ってたから、そいつは取り消してやるぜ。てめえの腹渡を引きずり出してや
And
る。
please take her out to dinner first before you get all up in her guts, my guy.
感情に任せて思考を
Be a
止め
gentleman
るな。
about it.
すでにわらわのゲームは始まっておるのだぞ。わらわは今回は綺麗に死体を残すことに決めた。なぜだかわかるか。
So there can be no doubt that it's actually Thumb and there's no shenanigans
前
going
回の
on.
ゲームでそなたがわらわの存在を否定するとき、こう考えて否定したである。それは顔面が潰され遺体の身元が確認できる。だから身代わりの死体を用意してアリバイを作った可能性が否定できない。その可能性が排除できない限り人間犯人説は維持できる。
なんだと。
That's something I talked about during episode 1. God damn, the wind sound effect's so fucking
さ
loud.
あバトラ、南條に検視を任せてよいのか。ミステリーの古典では検視の医者がグルというのが伝統なのだろう。
Is it? I don't know. I haven't really read much mystery.
なら南條に検
I
視を
have an
任せ
anthology
る。
of like all the original
そな
Sherlock
たが
Holmes
自ら
books
す
sitting
るが
around
よ。
somewhere. But I'm saving that to read at like work when I'm bored.
間違いなく6人の死体が当人で死んだふりなどでなく本当に死んでいることを十分に確認するがいい。お前の父親が母親が腹を裂かれて臓物を引きずり出されて殺されていることを、腹に手を入れてその手触りで確認するがいい。
That's a little much. Yeah, fucking yuck it up.
泣かねえ。ちくしょう、ちくしょう。
A little late for that, bud. Battler suddenly yelled. His tears were still dripping down, but as though scolding himself for being girly, he slapped his face hard several times with both hands. Even so, the tears still wouldn't stop. However, he felt a hot blaze ignite in both his eyes.
これだけの上等を決めやがった野郎に借りはがっちり返させていただくぜ。なら泣く時じゃねえ。自分のすべきことを考えろ。ああ、ダメだぜ。全然ダメだ。涙を流す暇があったら考えろ。涙腺なんかひるませる時じゃねえ。
I'm surprised you know the, like, scientific name for your tear glands. Rather than pure hatred, maybe it was more of an evasive hatred to bolt out his sadness. However, he gave a little courage to George and Jessica, who were being crushed by sadness.
そうだね。僕たちが泣いても起こってしまった現実は変わらない。
It won't bring him back.
サチアン、どうすりゃいいんだ。私は父さんと母さんのために何をすればいいんだよ。
Well, time to start theory crafting.
戻りました。
郷田さん、警察はどうでしたか。対応の指示は
Line their time.
いつ頃来られそうだと言っていましたか。
それが電話が故障のようでして、
Of course.
非常用の無線機も試してはみたのですが、その天候のせいでしょうか、こちらも通じず。
なんですって。じゃあ警察に連絡がつかないということなの。
Correct.
あいつが電話線とかに細工して警察に電話ができないようにしたんだ。
Oh, Beatrice, you card. You joker. I heard that the phones were out of order. Out of order? Oh my. I keep fucking slipping into my actual accent by accident. Jessica immediately decided that it was the work of that mysterious guest. Her eyes were bright red after so much crying, and they began to grow even more red with rage.
もうキロの余地なんかねえぜ。
Because, you know, after all, I did grow up like 40 minutes away from Boston, so I don't have a super thick accent, but like when I talk, if I like get really fucking passionate when I'm talking about something, it'll slip out. I'm no Southie, but there's a little bit of it in there.
全てが分かってる。そうだと分かる。父さんと母さんを殺したのは誰だ。決まってるぜ、あいつだ。昨日来たとかいう魔女様に決まってる。襟首ひねり上げてやるぜ。チクショーチクショーチクショー。ジェシカちゃん、お待ちなさい。
Yeah, you're gonna need to get the gun first. Wait, fuck. Only probably Natsuki and Kraus knew where the gun is, besides, like, Kinzo. Maybe Genji does too.
ゴーダさん、カナ君、行って。
お嬢様、お待ちを。
Covering their unfocused sadness with anger, Jessica ran outside, torn apart by emotion. Thinking about it hastily, maybe the mystery guest, Beatrice, who had arrived yesterday, was suspicious. However, at the current time, there was absolutely no proof that she was the culprit. At this moment, she was nothing more than a simple guest, and only one of many. So Rosa had to make an adult decision and stop Jessica in her hasty rampage. Yoda and Cannon realized that immediately and chased after her.
誰にも招かれなかった客人ベアトリーチェが犯人なんだろうか。
I mean, there's a chance.
ジェシカの気持ちもわかる。そう思い込みたい気持ちは俺にもある。誰でもいいから犯人ってことにして横っ面をぶっ飛ばしてやりたい気持ちがある。だがその前にはっきりと理解する必要がある。ベアトリーチェって何者なの？俺は顔すら見てねえぜ。
That is a good question. Yes, Maria, we know Beatrice is the Golden Witch.
顔ならお屋敷に大きな肖像画で飾られてたよ。あれだけ見てまだ覚えられないのかな。
But behind the mask of the Golden Witch, who is Beatrice?
なんだよマリア、こんな状況で何がおかしいよ。
ベアトリーチェは魔女なんだよ。そして黄金鏡の扉を開くための
Yeah,
儀
you
式
know,
が
you
い
just
よ
gotta
い
let
よ
it play
始
out,
ま
and
っ
then
たの。
everyone's gonna get revived, so
こ
it's
の
fine.
6人はその生贄なんだよ。さあさあ始まるよ、魔女の宴が。今宵はハロウィン。魔女たちが
No, it's not.
今こそ祝い集う。
In game, it's like the 7th or something. It is not Halloween. Does it say? It should say. Oh, it's the 5th. Yeah, no, you're pretty off there, Maria.
マリア、その気持ち悪い声で笑うのをやめなさいっていつも言ってるでしょ。
Yeah, now's not the time. The crisp sound of Rosa slapping Maria's cheek echoed through the high-ceilinged chapel. That didn't sound like a slap. Maybe if she, like, fucking hit her with, like, the base of her palm, like, the really meaty part, and just dunk. Kinda feels like, ever since the rain started yesterday, no, ever since the island became wrapped up in the typhoon, something has gone crazy. I had arrived in Rokkenjima while it was clear, taking a nap because I had gotten up early. When I woke up, it had already started raining. After I got up, that's when it all started. Suddenly, a mysterious visitor had arrived, calling herself the Golden Witch Beatrice. It feels like the world had started skewing bit by bit into something insane. What happened while I was taking a nap? During that time, had this island been cut off, trapped in a different world where common sense doesn't apply? I mean, kinda. Who's this person called Beatrice? Is she some unknown person trying to involve themselves with the inheritance problem, like our parents were freaking out about at dinner last night? Or is the culprit the witch from the Legend of the Gold, like Maria says? Even if Jessica hadn't let her short temper get the better of her, in this situation, the visitor was probably the most suspicious. We mustn't jump to conclusions like that. Yeah, that's no good. No good, no goddamn good at all. I mean, yeah, if we're looking at it level-headedly, who's the person who has the most to gain right now by the death of everyone else? Well, it's Rosa. Though, you know, we're like 98% sure she didn't do it, so. but for the sake of the characters, they wouldn't know that. I smacked my face with both hands again, cooling off my brain before it overheated. Even though it might have been a waste of effort.
これはおじい様の封筒。
On a tray piled up with sweets that decorated the table, George and Aniki found a Western envelope which had the Uchinomiya family crest done in gold leaf. And it was unopened.
ってことは、それは俺たち宛てってことじゃねえのか。親父たちが読んだものだったなら開封されてるはずだぜ。
その推理は正解のようだよ。
I mean, yeah, but they're dead. They're not gonna read it now.
書いてある。残されし者たちへって。
それは犯人が残した手紙なの。中身。
兄貴、開けようぜ。
After nodding silently, George and Aniki opened it. A folded letter came out. Oh, it's covered in anthrax. Great.
六軒島へようこそ。後ろ宮家の皆様方、私は金蔵様にお仕えしております当家顧問錬金術師のベアトリーチェと申します。
Ooh. The letter really was a joke. This Beatrice, who called herself a family alchemist, had announced that she was collecting the gold she had lent grandfather, along with the interest. Was that the whole letter? Ah, God, where is it? I hate how it's in tips. I have to go into tips first in order to get the grimoire. Letter from the witch. Welcome to Rogue Kenjima, ladies and gentlemen. I am Beatrice, the alchemist's family, under the employ of Kinzo-sama. I have served him for many years in accordance with our contract, but today, Kinzo-sama has announced the termination of that contract. Therefore, I ask you to acknowledge my resignation from the position of family alchemist as of today. And now, there is one part of the contract that I must explain to you all. I, Beatrice, let Kinzo-sama a vast quantity of gold under certain terms. One of those terms specified that all the gold is to be returned to me upon termination of the contract. Furthermore, I am to receive everything of the Uchinomiya family as interest. After hearing this, you may feel as though Kinzo-sama has been savagely ruthless. However, Kinzo-sama did append a special clause in the contract so that you would have a chance to preserve your wealth and honor. If and only if that special clause is fulfilled, I will lose my rights to the gold and all interest for eternity. Special clause. Beatrice has the right to collect the gold and accumulated interest upon the termination of the contract. However, if someone is able to discover the hidden gold of this contract, Beatrice must abandon these rights for all time. The collection of the interest will proceed shortly, but if any one of you fulfills the terms of this special clause, I shall return everything, including the portion that has already been collected. Furthermore, as the first step of this collection of Kinzo-sama's debt, I've taken possession of the Uchinomiya family head's ring, which signifies the passage of the Uchinomiya family headship from one individual to another. I ask that you confirm this for yourselves by examining the imprint of the wax seal. Kinzo-sama has already publicly displayed the location of the hidden gold within the epitaph under my portrait. The rules apply equally to all who can read the epitaph. If you discover the gold, I shall return everything to you. Tonight, I ask that you enjoy your battle of wits with Kinzo-sama to the fullest. I sincerely pray that this night will be both intellectual and elegant. Beatrice, the Golden Witch. I'm gonna feel real stupid if they just read the whole letter right now. And that interest was everything that grandfather had created. Since this tragedy was right before our very eyes as this paragraph was read out loud, it clearly wasn't referring to just the wealth that grandfather had built up. It was literal. Everything that grandfather had given birth to. In other words, all of grandfather's descendants were included in the interest.
ふざけやがって。なんてめちゃくちゃな契約だ。黄金の利子は命だってのかよ。そんなのまるで悪魔の契約じゃねえかよ。
Yeah, crazy.
それで魔女気取りってわけか。はっ、笑わせやがるぜ。
特別条項。ただし隠された契約の黄金を暴いた者が現れた時、ベアトリーチェは
Alright, everybody, it looks like we're gonna have to do some brainstorming and looking at maps and learning the different spellings and pronunciations and meanings of different kanji in order to get through the wordplay that's probably in there.
金蔵様が私の肖像画の下に
By us, I mean the
碑文にて
characters. I'm not
公
doing
示
that.
されております。つまり こういうことだね。もしこの殺人が利子の回収行為だというなら、それを止める条件としておじい様に与えた隠し黄金を探し出してみろと。
Like, do we just have to,
こう
like,
言ってるんだよ。
know the location? Or do, like, we actually have to, like, go there and get it? Because
そしてその秘密は
I
例
don't
の
think
肖
it's
像
on the
画の碑
island.
文に隠されているとも言ってる。
つまりこいつは魔女さんの挑戦状ってわけか。
Yes.
黄金の隠し場所を記した暗号文を解けるものなら解いてみろと。そしてそれができなきゃ利子の回収をこの後も着々と進めていきますとぶっ殺してやる。上等だ。
バトラー
Oh
君、
yeah, fucking just club her in the head with one of those golden
これ
bars.
これ
The table had been full of sweets, so even though they had been right in the open, we had assumed they were just sweets. I mean, come on. Find stuff like this a lot, right? You know, boxes of chocolate shaped like golden ingots.
こりゃお菓子の箱じゃねえぞ。
The gold! The Ushiromiya family gold is real!
本物だ。こりゃ本物の金塊だ。
片翼の和紙の紋章が刻印されてる。前に母さんが話してたのを聞いた。これは
Mm-hmm.
おじい様の黄金伝説の金塊だよ。
Gold ingots. 3 of them, weighing a full 10 kilograms each, were piled up in the very center of the table. This is where the cake would be placed if there was a birthday party. In other words, this was without a doubt the birthday cake for the party known as the family conference.
これが本当に純度49のインゴットだったなら6000万円くらいの価値はある。
バカ野
Over half a mil.
郎。俺たちの親が6人も殺された。そこに積まれた黄金がたったの6000万円だと。バカにするんじゃね
さあ始まったね、ベアトリーチェ。どうせこの謎は
Die has
誰にも
indeed been
解けないよ。
cast.
だから絶対にベアとの勝ち。
Yeah.
早く黄金鏡への扉を開いて、そしてマリアを連れてって。
No time pass, huh?
お嬢様、どうか気をお静めください。
Oh yeah, because nothing calms down a woman like telling her to calm down, bud.
誰が犯人かはまだ分かりませんぞ。それにベアトリーチェ様は親方様の大切な賓客です。
だからなんだってんだ。本人の胸ぐらひねり上げてやれば白状するに決まっ
Yeah,
て
you
るぜ。
know, we'll find out if she's innocent or not after you pulling a couple teeth.
目を見ればわかるんだよ。
You know, fingernails grow back.
私が見破ってやる。何が魔女だ、ベアトリーチェだ。化けの皮を剥いでやる。
Jessica never stopped moving. Goda and Cannon chased after her, doing their best to convince her, but Jessica never lent them an ear. Eventually, the witch's VIP room came into view. This VIP room was always sealed and never used. No matter what kind of guest came, Kenzo wouldn't let them in this room. And yet, servants were always made to clean this room so they could be used at any time. So the servants had started calling this room the witch's VIP room, after the other shapeless master. Jessica also knew this, and she couldn't stand that woman's arrogance in calling herself a witch by staying in that room. The Golden Witch was just a fairy tale. Come on, a witch? It's Jessica. She was nothing more or less than a murderer who had brutally killed her parents. Question her, make her give painful excuses, make her spit at the ground painfully, make her breathe painfully. No matter how hard she pretends to be a witch, I'll teach her that she's just a stinking, sweaty human. Jessica hit the door to the VIP room while yelling with all of her strength. It definitely wasn't a knock. That sound was the beating of her anger's hammer, whose message was clear. This woman didn't open the door, she'd break it down.
開けろよベアトリーチェ出てこい聞こえてるんだろ
Have you tried turning the knob?
ここを開けろ
There was no answer. Jessica twisted the doorknob without any reservation, but she felt the resistance of the lock. Jessica turned to the two servants, spat out at them demandingly. Damn, I was on such a nice roll there without flubbing it, you know. I almost sounded like I knew what I was doing.
開けて
お嬢様、それは大変な失礼に当たります。
Though Goto was flustered, he was still trying to somehow calm Jessica's anger. After hanging his head silently for a while, Cannon pulled a master key from his jacket pocket.
カーノンさん、いいんですか？
もしおられたなら
It's,
無礼になるのは承知
abnormal
です
circumstances at the moment.
それにもしベアトリーチェ様が何の関係もないというならそれを僕たちに釈明して納得させればいい
そうだぜ
Yep.
そのと借りるぜ
Let her explain herself. Jessica snatched the master key from Cannon's hand and violently shoved it into the keyhole. Immediately, there was a light sound and she felt it unlock. And without excusing herself, she flung open the door.
ベアトリーチェどこだ
Yeah, she's not gonna be in here.
出てこい
She's fucking skulking around the mansion like Mr. X or Nemesis right now. Jessica rudely barged into the room, which wasn't anywhere to be seen.
くそねえねえぜどこ行きやがった
God, Resident Evil 2 is such a good game. Like, when I was growing up, I had the PlayStation, and my friend had the Nintendo 64, but eventually his dad got a PlayStation, and he got the Resident Evil Director's Cut and Resident Evil 2. And oh man, going over for sleepovers, we'd play those and get fucking scared shitless. It was great. We weren't very good at them because, you know, survival horror, and we were like 7. So we weren't very good at the whole ammo conservation thing. So we always ended up with like no ammo and having to knife, and then we'd eventually die to like, I don't know, the dogs or the lickers. Oh my god, the dogs jumped through the window fucking made us scream.
お姿がありませんね。
And yeah, you can fucking put that quote for me in like the Boomer Wojak with the sunglasses and like the sugar-free monster. I'll accept that. Jessica, thinking she might be hiding somewhere inside the room, peeked behind the curtains and under the bed, but she couldn't find anyone. However, there definitely were signs that the bed had been used. Although it's an odd way to say it, the atmosphere in the room had grown a little softer. It wasn't the hard atmosphere of a place normally devoid of people, like the chapel. You could definitely tell that someone had spent the night in this room. But she could not be seen. In reality, neither Jessica nor Goda had met Beatrice yet. They had only been told by those who had met her that she was the spitting image of the person in the portrait. So they were doubtful about what her face really looked like. However, Cannon alone had met her. He understood what kind of being the witch was, and what kind of character she had. So he knew that if they were to force their way in here searching for her, she wouldn't let things go as they planned. She must be watching us bitterly flailing around in vain from somewhere, sneering at us. She's that kind of person. Because he was looking at things that way, Cannon was the first to find it. The other two were concentrated on finding the shape of a person, so they hadn't noticed. Near a water jug on the side table, there was a single sheet of writing paper. It was accompanied by a short message and a fountain pen, which had probably been used to write it. Cannon understood the witch. The witch would definitely ridicule them, as they found the 6 corpses, forced their way in here in rage, and were unable to find her. Ridicule had no meaning unless it is communicated. So in other words, this was definitely that.
お嬢様ここに何か書かれています。
書かれてるってなんだ
Trash talk. Jessica quickly dashed over and violently stole the piece of paper. She probably wasn't trying to be violent. She just couldn't control her strength now. Yes. As soon as she read the message, Jessica went into a wild rage, crumpled up the paper, and threw it. Oh, okay. Then she grabbed the table lamp that was on the side of the bed and violently swung it around, mercilessly hitting the walls and furniture with it. I was about to say, did you break a fucking window with a ball of paper? But no, breaking a lamp is much more, reasonable. The light bulb shattered at once and scattered its shards across the room.
お嬢様、気をお沈めください。お怪我をなさいます。
離せよ！畜生！畜生！出てきやがれ、ベアトリーチェ！よくも父さんと母さんを！
Ah, she's loving this.
そんなに私が怖いかよ！殺してやる！殺してやる！ぶっ殺してやるから姿を現しやがれ！だから離せって言ってんだろ！くそー！
How emotional. This was written on the paper.
私がぬくぬくとここであなたが飛び込んでくるのを待ちぼうけるとでも？素敵な夜に粗暴なるあなたは似合わない。こんな間抜けに育てた親はどんな顔？見たよ。本当にそっくりな間抜け面。今はお菓子の国でお腹いっぱい。
Wow. It sounded like something that witch would write. It meant that she had predicted that one of the children who had lost their parents would come running in here. If she was hiding somewhere in this room, she would surely be rolling around with laughter. Which was that kind of person. It was pretty vague on who it was intended for, so, it was kind of just a general catch-all for any of the kids. She sneered at people's misfortune, using it to stave off the boredom of 1,000 years.
これはお渡しください。お怪我をなさいますと申し上げております。
離せって言ってんだよ！
You can't, out-muscle a fucking... How old is Jessica? 17? 18? 16? A late teen girl? Come on, man. You look like a pretty built dude. That should be pretty easy. Go to grab the table lamp Jessica had been swinging around and took it from her. Just as she kept swinging around, she might hit something and get injured. To Goto's eyes, Jessica probably looked mad with rage, burning with the flames of anger. But Cannon's eyes saw it differently. Those were probably tears of sadness, hidden by rage. Therefore, when, the moment the table lamp was taken from her, Jessica dropped to the floor almost as if groveling, started crying and scratching at the carpet. Goto was surprised, but Cannon was not. Her way of crying was brandishing her anger at... What? Her way of crying by brandishing her anger had been stolen from her, so this was inevitable. Considering that she was a daughter of the Ushiromiya main family, she was in a very shabby state. She scratched at the carpet with her fingernails, and even her feet writhed and scratched at it. Jessica cried very, very hard. Because if she didn't, the rage would start building up again and swallow her up. But over and over again, she remembered that letter's humiliating message. What kind of faces must your parents have had after raising you to be such a hapless fool? Well, if they were so smart, then how'd they end up getting killed? Yeah, I saw them. They had perfectly stupid faces just like you. Now they're in Candyland with their bellies all full. Good luck. You'll need it. Oh, yeah. Asthma. As Jessica cried and screamed, she triggered an asthma attack. The servants watching over her ran up to her hurriedly and rubbed her back. That only provoked Jessica's wrath.
ことする暇があったらあいつを探せよ。探してきて私のところへ連れてこい。お前らが行かないで私が探せ。そしてこの手で殺してやる。腹を引き裂いてやる。触るんじゃねえぜ。畜生。
So have you taken a hit from your nailer yet? You should probably do that. Jessica got up unsteadily, and as her asthma continued, she went out into the hallway.
お嬢様、お薬を至急。
Yeah, I get that you're like trying to be like tough and be like, oh, even this won't stop me, but you know, you'll be able to hunt her down even better, you know, if you're not dying and clutching the wall from an asthma attack.
南條先生をお呼びします。
ゴーダさん、僕に任せてくれませんか。
Kenan had noticed. Goda, who was much older, probably couldn't feel the tears in Jessica's heart. Kenan, who had noticed that himself, had to support her.
カノンさん、いいのですか。
今のお嬢様には涙を流す時間も必要なのだ
Yeah,
と
let
思
her
い
have
ま
her
す。
tantrum and burn herself out.
ご両親あんな死に方を目の当たりにしては。
そうですね。
Goda also understood. And he also knew of the modest relationship that Jessica and Kenan shared. So he understood everything and left it to Kenan.
わかりました。私はローザ様のところへ戻ります。お嬢様を
Yeah,
くれ
there's
ぐれも
other
よろ
stuff
し
to
くお
attend
願い
to
し
at
ま
the
すよ。
moment.
はいお任せを。
Kenan's voice was frail, but he nodded forcefully. After looking at his eyes, Goda also nodded forcefully. Goda was a veteran with many years behind him. He had seen a great number of people in his life, so he knew of the vigorous sparkle that could be found in the eyes of those who had self-control. He'd seen that clearly in Kenan's eyes. Therefore, he would leave things to Kenan. Thinking about it, this may have been the first moment that Goda had trusted Kenan and relied on him for a job. Soon Jessica was headed towards the room, leaning against a wall as she suffered from her asthma. Kenan followed her wordlessly. If she had asked for a hand, he would have jumped over and supported her. But as long as Jessica didn't ask for that, he hid himself, watching over her from a distance where he could come to her rescue at any time. Kenan remained in that spot where 10 billion people would hope for someone else to have, what words? I just had a stroke. As Kenan remained in that spot where 10 billion people would hope for someone else to be when their hearts felt like they would have exploded from sadness. Ooh, that sentence, it killed me. Moving on. He silently watched Jessica's back. Then, finally, she was crouched in front of the door to her own room. The asthma attack had stolen all of her strength, and her thoughts had gone hazy from the lack of oxygen, so she could no longer stand up. But right now, Jessica wasn't thinking that she wanted someone to lend her a hand, because she still hadn't been able to overcome the flames of anger. The flams. Because even if someone had offered her a hand with good intentions, right now, Jessica would start wanting to grab it and lacerate it. And she understood how unreasonable that would be. Until she could overcome the flames of her anger, she definitely wouldn't ask for help. Probably, Jessica no longer even had the willpower to call for help. But Kenan heard it. He definitely heard it. Kenan definitely heard that voiceless call for help, which is shared by those from across the world who are grieving, and which, though they scream and scream, cannot be heard by anyone. Kenan softly knelt by Jessica's side and wordlessly offered her a shoulder. Even as Jessica kept coughing painfully, she accepted it, unlocked her room and entered.
こちらへ。今、お薬をご用意します。
Jessica had often said that when she let her asthma run its course, it hurt so bad that it felt like she would vomit her whole stomach. Her face was pale, and her gaze wavered. And yet, the coughing continued. Even so, her sadness was probably even stronger. After having her sit on the bed, Kenna took an inhaler from a cute basket on the side of the table by the bed and handed it to her. Jessica sometimes forgot to walk around with her medicine. You should probably keep it on you, if you get violent, debilitating asthma attacks. It's like if you, not keeping an EpiPen on you when you have, a deathly allergy. When it seemed like that was the case, Kenna would take notice and secretly carry around the inhaler from the first aid kit in the servant room, but he hadn't done so today. He scolded himself, though wondering how, after failing to bring it with him on a day like this, he could call himself furniture. Then, he remembered the day when he had spoken that word, and somehow betrayed Jessica's feelings, which jarred Kennan's heart. But, compared to Jessica's current sadness, he thought of that as a far more shameless emotion, and he suppressed it to the depths of his heart. When she inhaled her medicine, Jessica's wild breathing calmed down bit by bit, and she was finally able to regain her composure. But the strength and willpower she had lost wouldn't allow her to rise up from the bed. Yeah, you should probably, take a moment to reconstitute yourself.
お嬢様。
私は大丈夫だぜ。父さんと母さんはダメだけど。
Yeah, that's understandable.
もうちょっとなきゃ大丈夫だぜ。
Kenna regretted misspeaking. He had said, "Are you alright?" to her. Yeah, it's pretty clear she's not okay, my guy. Is he really unable to notice the pain in her heart? This is why he was ultimately, mere furniture. This is why he couldn't become human.
廊下におります。ご用がありましたら、すぐにお呼びください。
Kenna understood that she still needed some time to cry alone. Told her to call him at any time, bowed, and made to leave the room.
何か
Yeah, she probably doesn't want to be entirely alone right now. Jessica had spoken as though she wanted him to stop, so Kennan had stopped. If she asked it, I'll do anything to help her. If it could heal the pain in her heart right now, I would even become a cane or a chair. If by doing that, I can repair the pain in her heart I gave her that day. For a while, Jessica stared into Cannon's eyes, as though, despite stopping him, she had nothing to say. For a while, neither spoke. Jessica broke that silence with a small voice.
ごめん。なんでもないぜ。しばらく一人になりたいって。
一人にはしません。
There we go. Look at you.
あなたを僕は一人にしない。
Fucking smooth, my guy.
だから廊下にいます。いつでも呼んでください。
For just an instant, it looked like some kind of hope flew into Jessica's eyes. But it was very faint and disappeared like the first snow on the surface of a river.
ありがとな。しばらくだけ。
はい、失礼します。
Kinnan bowed once again and closed the door. Thought he had said something to give her some courage, but for some reason, it felt like that had actually hurt her. Why? He didn't know. Surely that was because he was furniture. So even now, he couldn't grasp human sadness. As Cannon repeatedly questioned himself, he walked down the corridor. Felt like the window at the end was coolly calling to him.
僕はやっぱり家具でしかないのか。
Nah, you're just a dumb, awkward teenage guy who, doesn't get girls' feelings. It's pretty normal. It was still pouring outside, a dark gray world. Even on days like this, Shannon would surely look at the ocean and know it was blue. But to my eyes, even if it cleared up, I would only see gray. As long as I cannot tell the blueness of the ocean, I have nothing but furniture imitating a person.
本当に女心のわからぬやつよ。
Yeah, no. You can't blame him, though.
ああいう時は黙ってそばにいるのが正解だ。
You fucked up. You know, if this was a different kind of VN, there'd be a choice there, to maybe score some heroin points, but you were a dummy and picked the option that didn't give you an additional scene and like route points. You missed a flag.
だからゆえに貴様は家具なのよ。
貴様。
There shouldn't have been any trace of anyone in this corridor. It had been empty and cold. But those scoffing words approached Kenan from behind. Hey, Beatrice. When he turned around, he saw that witch. That witch who hadn't shown herself when Jessica had searched for her with a rage bordering on madness, who had left that sneering letter to toy with her.
女の傷つけ方は3つある。特別にわらわが教えてやろう。
Sure.
一つは刃物で傷つける。
Yeah, that's pretty self-evident.
一つは心で傷つける。そして最後が一番難しく、一番効果的に傷つけられる。なのに意識せずして傷つけられる。わかるか？
What, is this like a kill him with kindness kind of thing?
わかるわけもないし、知りたくもない。
Yeah, no.
期待を裏切る。だ。女ほど夢見がちな生き物はいない。勝手に夢を見、
I'll have to take your
勝
word
手
on
に
this.
傷つく。お前のような距離の男が一番女を傷つける。
Yeah. May have done that a couple times myself.
わかるまいな。貴様にはどれほどジェシカを傷つけてきたか全く考えが及んでいまい。家具だから。
Because you're a big fucking dummy.
お前のたわごとに付き合う気は毛頭ない。僕を嘲笑うためだけに姿を現したというのか。
Are we still in front of Jessica's room? Is she just hearing you rambling to yourself in the hallway from her perspective?
うぬぼれるな家具。貴様ごとき嘲笑うにも足りぬわ。しかしそなたも一人ではそれに値しなくても二人揃えば十分に足りる。若々しき男女の悲運を笑う喜びは何度繰り返しても飽きぬのでな。
なんだと。まさか貴様、お嬢様を。
Yep. There's part of the epitaph. Second Twilight.
第二の番の意見に寄り添う二人が必要なのでな。お前たち二人は実に都合が良い。
待て、勘違いするな。僕はお嬢様と
Yeah,
そういう関係じゃない。
Not really like that.
第二の番の生贄にはならない。
だからお前はジェシカを傷つける。だからお前は人間になれぬ。ならばよいだろう。貴様がジェシカを思い人と認めるならばそれを受け入れてもよい。だがジェシカは殺す。
Yeah, that'll get you going.
なぜ？
このバカが
Because it'll fucking rile you up and it's funny.
決まっておろうが。殺したらそなたが歪めるだろう。その表情が楽しいからの他に
Yeah, 'cause
何の理由が
just 'cause
必
it
要
get your
な
goat.
のか。儀式に従いわらわは気まぐれに13人を生贄とする。だがそれ以上殺してはならないという決まりはない。
Impressive you're able to talk through your teeth like that. You'd make a pretty good ventriloquist.
わらわが楽しければ幾人でも殺す。 だから殺す。わらわを思いっきり笑わせてみせろよ。カグカノン。
Have you tried just like taking a swing at her? At the time, Ken had definitely heard Jessica scream. Cool, creepy Latin. Instantly he blinked to look down at the corridor. The witch, who had been there making a perfectly ordinary face until a second ago, had disappeared. You call those perfectly ordinary faces? Who do you hang around with that's ordinary? Right now, it was just him, standing alone in the corridor. And the person he wanted to protect was asking for help. It was right over there. It was obvious what he should do. It wasn't logical. It was an electric reaction. Without a trace of hesitation or idle thoughts, the person he wanted to protect was there, asking for help. So, in that moment, he genuinely felt that he wanted to be the person who was there with her. When he flew into Jessica's room, his eyes latched onto a bizarre scene. The room was a fantastical world, where a blizzard of golden powder danced almost as though gold leaf had been scattered inside a snow globe. No, that's not it. I've seen this spectacle before. This isn't gold leaf. It's countless gold butterflies. Beatrice's minions. Jessica was surrounded by countless butterflies and was waving her hands around, trying frantically to bat them away.
お嬢様。
Kinnan rushed towards Jessica and violently brushed the group of butterflies away. The butterflies, beautiful yet filthy, surrounded Jessica's face, trying to crawl in through her mouth and nose. Oh! Jessica gagged violently, almost as though the butterflies were triggering her asthma attack, sneering at her. Indeed, when Kinnan raced towards Jessica, she choked. The butterflies stopped attacking her, and this time, they began to elegantly dance a rondo around the two. Just like breathe through your teeth, like, you know, pinch your nose and like clench your teeth, and you can just like still breathe, so that way they don't crawl into your body through your orifices.
大丈夫。僕の目の黒いうちはあなたに誰の指一本触れ。出てこい。ベアトリーチェ、これで満足か。
No, she clearly isn't. As he guarded Jessica, in pain and using her inhaler, Kennan yelled into the empty air. I hate that laugh. It's just so, like, stock sound effect. It's like the one jar shattering effect and the one, like, creaky door opening sound effect. That always just completely takes me out of any moment. I hear it in, like, horror movies and stuff, and it's just like, that's just a stock sound effect you use there. Like, great Foley work, guys. When he did, the empty air definitely laughed back, satisfied. Ooh. Oh, you changed. Then she showed herself. It wasn't a response to Cannon's demand. It was obvious because appearing and sneering humiliated them even more and was more fun.
これで全ては筋書き通りよ。
Man, you love your costume changes, don't you?
今やそなたは相乗の恋よな。いや、二人が揃ったのだから、カモとネギと呼ぶべきか。
That's... Oh god, it's like a Japanese or maybe Chinese proverb. Like the duck shows itself up ready to be cooked, basically. But we'll read it anyway. It's why Farfetch'd is a Pokemon, why he's the duck with the leek, because, you know, it's a reference. Duck and onions. Duck and green onions are the primary ingredients for a duck stew, and this gave rise to the Japanese phrase that duck comes bearing green onions, in which a duck approaches carrying its own seasoning ready to be eaten. This metaphorically refers to a situation where a series of lucky coincidences benefit you without any effort, Or alternatively, where a naive person brings you what you want while unaware of the disadvantages to themselves. Perhaps because of this, a mark or a sucker, in terms of scams, is often called a duck in Japanese. Interesting. Didn't know that last part.
Beatrice!
お下がりください、お嬢様。僕が守る。
姫に騎士が揃わば魔女が現れるのは必然よ。
Is it?
どれ、金蔵の家具がどの程度の力を持つか見せてもらおうではないか。
She snapped her fingers and there was a piercing sound. When she did, a blizzard of gold butterflies started up and they began to form a small mountain as they whirled around in a circle. Just like how a cold, wintry wind swirls and creates a mountain of leaves. Hello? From the mound of gold, a hand sprouted. It appeared, as though a resident of the world below had crawled out. Wherever they are, they're pretty fucking haunch. Nice beard, too, unless that's just like really long hair. Jessica couldn't comprehend what she was seeing right now, and her mouth kept flapping open and closed. It was a literal attempt to take in and digest knowledge, to understand the incomprehensible. Oh, hey, Goat Man. Nice mask, because magic isn't real. Good practical effects. That which was crawling up was probably an attendant serving the witch. It appeared to be wearing a uniform following the pattern of those who serve. But its face was different. It was strange looking. It was covered in pitch black hair. It breathed rotten breath, and its eyes were filled with the same strange subterranean glow as lava. And the symbol of those who are not human, a pair of horns. It's a goat! It was the figure of a goat-faced attendant who served the witch. Okay, can we stop the sound effect now? Jessica could no longer decide what to say. All this happened in front of her. All this happening in front of her couldn't be explained with this world's common sense. She couldn't do anything except open and close her mouth. Jessica hadn't noticed that this island had already been cut off from the rules of this world. But even so, she could understand that this goat attendant was the witch's familiar, and it was after her life. It seemed that the witch had already ordered that. And she faced Cannon with an expectant gaze. She faced him with a provocative gaze filled with expectation, as though asking him how he planned to protect this maiden. The attendant looked especially like a beast when it had been crawling up, but in its composure, you could see that it had more than enough dignity to be worthy of serving the Golden Witch. And you could tell that it was overflowing with the joy of furniture wanting to meet its master's expectation. Furniture battle!
金蔵の家具の力を今度は間違えるの？家具であることを忘れるな。この後に及んで人間のふりを続けるのなら死ぬのはお前だけでは済まぬぞ。
The goat attendant made a gesture that seemed to be a silent bow. Was that in response to its master? Or was it offered to the opposing cannon? Then, on the attendant's hand, a blade of wicked malice appeared. On its hand? Or in its hand? Oh no, on its hands! I'm gonna be real, folks, I didn't see this coming. This was not... I didn't think this was in the cards. Jessica had been unable to understand what was happening in front of her for a while now. All she understood was that this thing was gleaming for the purpose of threatening her own life. And right now, that was enough. Ken spoke quietly to Jessica, who was hiding behind his back.
お嬢様、壁に下がっていてください。 背中は決して壁から離さないよ
姫君はおとなしく騎士殿の背中に隠れているがいい。自らの命を男に守らせる醍醐味
I'm gonna be real here, Cannon. You might need an assist. Like, call in your striker.
さあカノン、お前の刃を見せてみよ。
Summon the blade of your heart? What? You could just do that?
美しい。金蔵は家具を生み出すことに関してだけはわらわの足元に及ぶやもしれぬ。
Guess this is just a thing he can do?
こんなものバラの手入れにも使えない。
Well, yeah, it's not meant to be used like that.
カノン君、それは。
Look, man, it's magic. I don't gotta explain
見せ
shit.
たくなかった。
よくぞ抜いたぞ。思いを寄
All
せ
right,
る
now we're
女
going
の
into
前
like
で
Chunigay
己が
territory.
人間以下の存在であることを晒した気分はどんなもの
Yeah, show us your
よ。
fucking reality marble now.
黙れ。
憤怒で己を焦がしているくせに冷静を装うか。なるほど。真に熱き炎
いや
は青く静かだという。今のそなたがそうだというのか。
White hot, baby.
僕の力でお前を殺すことなどできるわけもない。
Yeah, that's fair. You got like little twig arms.
お前は月石つぶてを投げたとて月を砕くことなどできるわけもない。だがお前は権限するために水面にそ
Yeah,
の
you
姿
can
を映
throw a rock in there and like, you know, mess with the ripples and yada yada.
水面に石つぶてを投じれば一時月を乱すこともできるかもしれな
You
い。
can't win this fight, but you can make it so you can't lose.
しかし月を砕くことなど至らない。だから
Brief
僕
or
は
Preve? Oh,
この命尽きるまでお前の映る水面を叩き続けてやる。
don't know why it flickered. Don't know if you're being dramatic or it takes a lot of energy to do it. You just need to like reconcentrate.
気に入ったぞカノン。始めろ家具ども。
Round 1. I couldn't think of a good. Oh, I was thinking really hard of like a good like can't escape crossing fates kind of thing. But I couldn't. I'm sorry I disappointed you all.
ほう、美しい奇跡だ。
The witch's words of admiration broke the silence for just an instant. Broke Jessica's paralysis. Yeah, this is this is pretty wild.
来い魔女の家具め、元来た地獄へ叩き落としてやる。
Alright, that sounds uncannily like the fucking zombie groans from Minecraft.
What?
Did you do anything? Blood. Strand of red remained on Kinzo's, not Kinzo, Cannon's cheek. The witch saw this and grinned broadly.
勘が戻らぬことを言い訳につぶやいてもよいぞ。
カノン君、しっかり。
大丈夫。
Like, do you know how to fight, or are you just like swinging?
僕はまだ死なない。
Also, must be kind of weird, like ergonomically, to like swing your arm like that in order to fight. No, cannon! The trail drawn by the goat attendant's blade drew a large arc in empty space. Cannon wasn't there. It was behind it. You really just did a nothing personnel, kid?
先に帰りて主の帰りを待つがいい。
What a fucking nerd.
行け。
If this battle of drawing sparkling trails was chess, then cannons coming from behind was check. And press, press, and press, and press. And mate in 7. Had the goat attendant not even been given the right to go into death throes? As its knees buckled and fell over, crumpled softly into a bunch of gold butterflies. Oh, my dude won. Supposedly. So there was no sound of it hitting the ground. Even those who couldn't understand this battle could definitely at least realize that Kennen had been magnificent.
ハンドメイドには勝てぬか。そこまで見下げたものではないらしい。
So Kennen just like teleported?
次はお前だ。ベアトリーチェー
Of course, she's just gonna boop, disappear too. Kennen's blade sliced diagonally through the witch's form like a hot knife through butter. In an instant, she burst into gold and scattered. She scattered into several thousand gold butterflies, and for just an instant, the room was filled with the color of twilight. It was just as Kennen himself had said. Attempting to slice Beatrice was just the same as slicing the surface of the water where the moon was reflected. Yeah, because I guess the quote-unquote real Beatrice is, off having her fucking game of wits with Balor. Or maybe that's the reflection. I don't know. Clearly, the mechanics of this world are a lot more fucking complex than I had originally given them credit for, so... The witch's form was there, with an ordinary expression on her face, as though she had been there the whole time, behind Cannon.
十分に面白い見せ物であったぞ。それに免じ見逃してやろうかと思ったが、今の無礼で気が変わった。
嘘をつくな。お前にお嬢様を殺させはしない。たとえそれが無理でも。
Let's see you try.
僕より先に殺させはしない。
お前にはそれすらできぬわ。喋るな家具が。無口であれ家具が。身の程を知れ家具が。
カノン君は
Yeah, can furniture like cold steel, nothing personnel kid teleport behind you?
ほう、なぜそう言えるのか。
理由なんかいらない。カノン君はカノン君だよ。
Okay.
本当の名前は別にあるけれど、それでも名前は家具じゃない。
Oh yeah, we don't really know Cannon's name, do we?
カノン君にはカノン君の生き方があ
Said he
る。
forgot. That's a lie.
それはとても高潔なもので、自らが決めるもの。家具だから意見しちゃいけないとか、家具だから自分の人生を持っちゃいけないとか、そんなのないよ。
お嬢様、あいつを挑発してはいけません。
idea. But let her say her piece.
はっきり言っておくぜ。カノン君は家具じゃない。人間だよ。どうして？カノン君は自分の意志で私を助けに駆けつけてくれた。そして恐ろしい魔女であるあんたの前に立ちはだかってくれた。私を見捨てることなんていくらでもできただろうに、そうしなかった。自己犠牲は人間だけが持つ高潔な精神だ。
Okay.
だからカノン君は人間なんだ。
Yeah, that tracks.
だから訂正しろ。カノン君を家具だなんて呼ぶな。
お嬢様。
Gotta take these small victories that Beatrice is just gonna fucking smash right in front of you.
語るな人間が。とっとと終わらせよう。何しろまだまだ第二の。
Yeah, it's too early in the game for you guys to get the upper hand. It's gonna be L after L for a while.
互いの尊厳を認め合う寄り添いし二人を今こそ生贄に捧げよ。さあさあおいでなさい。罪を許しなさい。煉獄の七杭が一つ。色欲。
Which summoned her own furniture with a mixture of laughter and anger on her face. Hello? Oh my, are you? Doing anything after this?
ここに。茶番は飽きた。第二の番を速やかに
Oh,
遂
she's
行
got a
せ。
little stake on her emblem because, she's gonna stab them.
わらわに瞬きを三つも許すね。
仰せのままに。
Oh, she's got the golden eagle too.
妙なのが出やがったぜ。
Yep. There's more cards in play now. Took Canon less than an instant to understand. That goat-faced form of a second ago had been nothing more than a pawn to the witch. However, there was a marked difference in the value of this piece, of this furniture that had been newly summoned. Yeah, this is more like a knight or a rook.
素敵な獲物に恵まれるなんて、なんて幸運なのかしら。
Did you forget your pants?
怯えてる？かわいい。
来い、魔女の家具。お前には殺されない。
I don't know, man. She has like multiple sprites with like mouth movement.
私の姿を追うこともできないノロマのくせに生きがって。
Yeah, you're gonna get regularly wrecked, my guy.
行くわよ。ねえねえ、どこがいい？どこを貫いてほしい？お答えなさいよ、かわいい子。あなたの好きなところを思いっきり貫いてあげる。
Damn, like at least take me to Applebee's first.
さあさあ、お答えなさいよ。
僕を可愛いと言うな。
Yeah, at least call him cool or like handsome.
行くわよ、ノルマ。さあ追ってごらん、その節穴で。
Oh, that's a laugh. I'm fast as fuck, boy! Yeah. You might have been able to defend yourself, but
お嬢様。目では追えなかったけどよ。
yeah, no, that's fair.
読みは当てたぜ。さあまあ、見やがれ。
Cannon's back had been the target, but Jessica had predicted that. She had predicted that the sneering witch's target would be the complete opposite of fair and honest. The opposite of a fair and honest, his back. But she had no way to block it. She had no aspirations to martyrdom. She simply thought that there was no other way than this to protect Cannon's back. So, she could do nothing but block it with her own back. The furniture of the witch, which had changed its form into a demon's stake, was stuck deep into Jessica's back. It was obviously a fatal wound that had reached as far as her lungs. I mean, yeah, if you want to get to someone's lungs, go through their back. When she saw this, the witch let out a loud, evil laugh. Because it had hit where the witch had predicted. Everything was as the witch had predicted.
どうしたカノン。ジェシカお嬢
She's
様
fucking
はお前よ
toying
り
with you at
先
this
には
point.
殺されなかったんじゃないのか。そうそう、それそれ、その顔よ。お前のその顔が見たかった。
You're a real piece of work, you know that?
楽しんだ、実に十分。もうよい、死ね死ね笑わせろ。さあさあおいでなさい、罪を許しなさい。煉獄の七杭が一つ、フンド。
Alright, who's Wrath?
フンドのサタン、
Oh, okay, they all got the same uniform.
ここに。
その獲物はお前のものだ。今すぐ食らってこやつの舞台に幕を下ろしてやれ。
Oh, we got a man-eater here?
人ならば交番とも言おうが、家具のお前の場合は大道具係が舞台裏に運び出すといったところか。
僕はもう家具じゃない。そしてそれを二度と疑わない。
Shame it took you to the very end to realize.
あんたまた私に殺されちゃうの？あんたの胸温かくて本当に貫くと気持ちがいいのよ。
Okay, so you're aware, at least the stakes, I guess, are aware of the cycle, and I guess, is the Beatrice here also aware of it, or is that only the Beatrice, playing the game with Battler?
さあまた味合わせて。あなたの温かい胸の中で熱い熱い血潮
Damn, Cannon's just a chick magnet,
私
ain't
を
he?
思いっきり気持ちよくして。
That sound effects are fucking funny. Makes me think of just a random fucking piece of metal in a game that's collision is going crazy as it's getting stuck in the table and just banging back and forth. Just replace it with the fucking Gmod smacking sound. There was no way to block it. The sound of a woodpecker filled the entire room, and before he could blink, it was already right in the center of his chest. When you take a piece in chess, it's impossible by the rules for your opponent's piece to defend. So this was an obvious result, and one even specified by the rules. Yep, bad matchup. Cannon landed on his knees, and he apologized. Not to the witch, not to Milady. He apologized to Jessica.
ごめん。守りきれなかった。
気にしないで。
Yeah, it is what it is.
かっこよかった。
I mean, yeah, fucking pretty badass. Didn't know he could do magic swords. Cannon finally fell over. He landed next to Jessica, and the two lay there like Gemini. Oh, I'm a Gemini. Neat. If we're going by the, 12 zodiac instead of the 13. I think even with 13, I'd still be Gemini.
はい。それに気づくのが
What?
遅すぎた。
I know the 13th is the serpent bearer, but I can never remember the actual name of the constellation. You smart people below will tell me. I know it's the person's supposed to be as Asclepius, but I can never remember the actual name of the constellation itself.
僕の本当名前は
In his last moments, Cannon wanted to tell her his real name, but Jessica had already fallen into a sleep from which she would never wake. So, Cannon's real name, which she had protected until today, in the end, he couldn't tell it to Jessica.
僕は人間にな
Those were the last words Cannon left behind. Good show, good show. Very dramatic.
笑わせるな家具が。100年を経ようと家具は家具よ。捨てる時に家具のために墓穴を掘るバカがどこにいる？家具は叩き割って薪にして、後には灰しか残らぬわ。
If we're going by like Japanese folklore, 100 years, furniture has been used. He's got a soul now.
そういうことよ。家具に刻める墓碑などない。貴様は死ねばこれ以上の屈辱を受けることがないと信じてるようだが。
The one I got, I think it was made in 1925. So it's just got a couple more years.
死者を恥ずかしめるというのがどういうものか。
After taking a puff from her pipe, the witch breathed that smoke at Kanan's corpse. Damn, she's fucking blew a cloud right in his face. The disrespect. When she did, Kanan's corpse softly floated up into the air and disappeared as though it had been eaten by a mouth in empty space. The witch played dirty until the very end. The two who had understood one another in their last moments should not even permit their corpses to be close. If someone had been watching, they would probably mourn that this was indeed a disgrace to the dead. However, Beatrice was far, far crueler. That would become immediately apparent. Ruh-roh. Damn, poor Kanan. Oh, rolling it back. Show us where everyone else is. What they're doing. Hey, Kinzo. But we will see what Kinzo is up to next time on the next episode of Umineko, because that's a pretty dramatic stopping point right there. We learned a whole lot about our boy Kanan there and what he can do, and I guess some things that are possible in this world. Did it update Kanan being dead? It did not. We didn't get our little twinkle yet. But hey, yeah, wow, that I did not expect that to happen. But yeah, as I said, we're done for today, and now I'm just trying to think of a way to wrap this up eloquently, but I can't. So yeah, I'll just say, if you like this, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. I'll see you all next time for the next episode of Umineko, where I guess more stuff is gonna happen, and we'll get the aftermath of Jessica taking that fat L, and I don't know if we'll get to the third Twilight, but there's gonna be some wipeouts, so be sure to come back next time for the next episode of Umineko. Catch you guys all later. Bye.